Yay! Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Mark's Days Creative Differences, a monthly live stream where I talk to writer friends about those little things that make a big difference to their craft and careers, in the hope that we can give readers some insight to the creative process and writers and other creative folk some practical advice that they can actually use. I'm Mark Stay. I'm an author, screenwriter, podcaster, and if you're joining us live tonight, feel free to ask questions in the comments and take part in the conversation. And I'm flying solo tonight. Emily's not here. Emski normally is doing buttons and things and stuff. She's not here tonight for reasons I shall reveal at the end. So I'm pushing all the buttons tonight. So like I say, this is live, so excuse me if things go wrong. But a big thank you, as always, to Dominic Curry for his jingle, which sounds suspiciously like Stevie Wonder. Suspiciously like Stevie Wonder. Suspicious. I'm too hip for the room. Okay, let's meet our special guest. My guest is the amazing author of such delightful rom-coms such as 10 Years, Probably the Best Kiss in the World, and Punch Drunk Love. And her new novel, A Copenhagen Snowmance, is about to herald in Christmas. Yes, I said the C word. What of it? Now, she's pioneered book sniffing. She has run wild with the Teletubbies. It's only that Pernille Hughes. Hello, Pernille. How are you?
Hello. It's so nice to be here. We have been, and you were there right at the beginning, and it was. So I really enjoy these with you, Mark. So I've been looking forward to this.
My absolute pleasure, and welcome to the Creative Differences podcast. It's great to have you on. Now, folks, feel free to put questions in the comments, and they do come up here. There we go. Mike saying evening all. Hello, Mike. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Yeah. Now, let's talk about your new novel, A Copenhagen Snowmance. Now, we got pastries, we've got Hygge, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. We got Tivoli there on the cover. We got Scotsman with a kilt. Tell us more about this wonderful novel.
So this is a fake dating trope of a novel. It's a story about Anna Lundholm, who goes to Copenhagen. She is a Copenhagener, but she lives in London, and she flies into Copenhagen for just one day, in and out. That's her plan, but is grounded because of snow and is stuck there. And so she... And that's what we then follow through this rom-com.
Excellent stuff. Excellent stuff. Now, Tivoli, tell us about Tivoli, because I've seen on Instagram you've actually been there. You were doing research, tax-deductible research, I hasten to add.
Of course. Yeah, so Tivoli is in the heart of Copenhagen, and it's like the original fairground. I think Disney himself took inspiration from Tivoli.
Oh, really?
And it's still there as a pleasure garden, really. You can walk through it during the day, and in the evenings, or the late afternoons and evenings, the rides go on, and then we've got the beautiful lights, and it changes with the season. So they've just closed today to take down Halloween and then to start Christmas. So within a short space of time, there will be lights, Christmassy lights everywhere, Christmas stalls, and it will just be charming. And so I did go last December just to see for myself, really just around town, because I knew which places I wanted to include, because it's not just Tivoli, there are other places within Copenhagen that I've placed scenes, and I just wanted to be able to visualize them as well. So I know the city, but I haven't been there in December. Of course, all cities kind of change at different times of the year, don't they? So it was just good to be able to see it at the right time.
Now, up on the screen,
yes, you've got my tropes there.
Yes, little kind of one of those social media things that we have, where it said, so we got fake dating, forced proximity, hygge, pastries, friends to lovers, he falls first. Now, some of these, he falls first. Okay, I get that. Fake dating, yeah, okay. Forced proximity, that sounds a bit odd. What's going on there, Pernille? What's that?
Okay, so this is if you're a romance reader, then that's a very, very common trope. So the forced proximity is you are stuck together with the other person. So it could be something where they're stuck in the lift or they're snowed in, which is the case here, or just any of those buddy movies, that used to have like where what's the one with Mel Gibson and someone where they're kind of handcuffed to each other? That would be classed as false proximity as well, that you don't want to be together but you are together. And it's quite a known one within romance. And the one that is He Falls First is a newer one, actually, where readers are enjoying that thing of he fancies the MC, but she's not quite there yet, as opposed to her falling head over heels and just basically chasing him, which often used to be something in the past. So they're a bit balanced there.
Yes, absolutely. Now, Hygge. Now,
Yep.
I only have a vague idea of how to pronounce that because I worked for a publisher a few years ago when Hygge was a huge trend. Tell us what Hygge is. It's Hygge, isn't it?
Yeah, so Hygge is one of those words which is a feeling rather than a definition. I think they, like Wales have one, isn't it, Hereth, where it's about this longing, even though you may never have been. It's that kind of a sense of, and Hygge is that kind of coziness that you have generally with other people, like a coziness of community, but you can actually just pottle around at home just being cozy by yourself. Candles and throws, and you were warm, and there was a hurling storm outside. You could still be having Hygge because you're having fun with the other people. You're playing board games. You're just cozying up, and you're content. There's a contentment to it as well. It's that. Does that kind of give you a feel for it?
Completely, and that totally comes across on the cover as well, which has all these big blobs of snow and coziness and hugging and closeness and everything. So that's great, and we're already getting some amazing comments. No, go on. Go.
So when you have those nights in a pub where you only just stopped in for one, but actually there were friends there, and you're having a real chat, and it's not a full-on bender of a night, but you're just having a lovely time. It's wet outside, you don't want to go out, you're just having, but you wander home, you think, oh, that was really lovely, that coziness we had, and it was good to see them, and we'd share that being together. It's the sharing of the being together. That's Hygge.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Comments from the folks joining us live. GB Ralph, former guest. I'm all for pastries and fake dating. Fair
Always
enough.
for pastries. Yeah.
Always for pastries. Kylie Dunbar. Kylie, we've got to get you. Kylie is an author as well. We've got to get Kylie on the show at one point. Kylie saying, I loved this book. Kate Kenzie, another author. I can't wait to read this. Someone called Emily Stay Newton, got to do that research in person, who then goes on to say, forced proximity feels similar to there's one left at the hotel and we have to share. We need to talk
so
later, Emily Stay Newton.
Well, we can have this chat, Emily, about tropes and kind of sub-tropes, because that's a trope device, because that one bed is... it's one of those points where it could be a one bed or one tent or I've seen one sleeping bag, which I thought was inspired. And it's one of those things where people love to see it. And it is one of those moments where you are so vulnerable when you are asleep and when you are in bed, actually, to then have to share that bed with somebody who may or may not be of interest to you is it's a real frisson kind of a moment. So yes, it is sort of, I think it's, if you were to draw it out on a map, then forced proximity down to one bed, they would be stemming from each other. I think this comes back to that panel we once did, Mark, at the RNA conference, didn't we, on tropes?
Yeah.
And that did come up. Yeah.
That was great. That was really good. Cool. Andrea is joining us. Says, I just saw it's on a promotion in the States. Looking forward to it, because it's a Kindle deal, isn't it? Yeah.
I've got a book club today. So thank you, Andrea, for bringing that up, because I was supposed to remember to say it and I had absolutely forgotten. So it's on at 99 cents right now, and just for today, the 3rd of November. The whole of America.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Superb. Rockhopper says, am I too late to ask the biscuit question? A quick explanation here, Pernille. Rockhopper joins us on every episode and asks the guest of their favorite biscuit, but I guess we should give it a twist this month. A favorite Hughes biscuit? What's a nice
Oh,
cozy
so
biscuit?
of the Danish biscuits, the Danish Christmas biscuits, because that's quite big actually, the smock that you would have. There are many kinds. There's brunkager, there's julekager, there's finsbrød, but my favorite would be kleiner, which is actually a deep fried biscuit where it's a nice dough with lemon zest, maybe some cardamom, and it gets twisted inside itself. Like you roll it out, you cut it in a rectangle, you put a little line through the rectangle, and you turn it inside out so it's got a knot, and then you deep fry it, and they are lush, and they're my favorite. There you go.
That might be the
That.
best answer we've had for the biscuit question so far. That's excellent. We've got a listener question of someone who's joined us. It's Kylie Dunbar again, who says, "I've read all your gorgeous books. How do you feel your style has evolved across your novels?" Great question, Kylie. Thank you. So yeah, let's talk about your backlist.
Well, thank you. Firstly, thank you for reading all of them. I think I've just fallen more. I feel it's okay to use my voice more. So after my first book came out, people were saying, "Oh, it's like I can hear you," and I'm thinking, well, that can't be a bad thing then, because it got bought, didn't it? So I think I maybe lean into that more now, the as writing as I speak, because stories are out there and people can write a similar story, but actually it's our writing voices that is what they're buying, really, and that's the bit you can't, well, in theory, replicate. And so I will try to say things but try to write them as I would say them. So I think the evolution has been to lean into me more. Yeah, I think that's probably my view.
I think that's such an important lesson. Such an important lesson to learn for writers. It took me years to figure it out, because having grown up loving Douglas Adams and Terry Pratchett, I thought I had to write like them, to be like that. And in the end, you discover, to thine own self be true. That's the secret, if you like. That's the way to sort of come across. But yeah, so let's talk about some of the backlist titles. So which was the first book of yours? Was it?
So the first one was Sweatpants at Tiffany's, which got renamed to Punch Drunk Love.
That one.
Yeah, that one. Yes. So I loved the film. Didn't sell very many because people didn't get the reference. I don't know, or just didn't want I don't know. So we revamped it to Punch Drunk Love, which I think still there's a boxing theme, and so it still kind of carries through the title. But I do appreciate that it is a Hollywood film as well, of a completely different nature, and well,
Adam Sandler movie,
but still, it works with what I need. It's got love in it, and it's got punching in it. So,
and second book was probably The Best Kiss in the World.
Probably The Best Kiss in the World. Yes, and that one is that one's part set in Copenhagen, actually, and that seemed to go down really well with the readers. So, and that maybe kind of then led into this new book being all set in Copenhagen. But that one again, I came from a trip where my husband and I had been to Copenhagen. We did a tour of the city, having been there many times before. I devised a tour of the city via craft breweries, and so we got really wasted. I couldn't feel my teeth by 2:00 in the afternoon, but it was cracking. It was a great trip, and we kind of walked through the canals, and we saw what's it called, houseboats. And I thought, oh, fancy writing something with a houseboat in it. And actually, craft beer is another craft, isn't it? So having my main character want to be a brewster kind of came about in that. So I'm very fond of that book, actually. Yes.
And in terms of your style evolving, how was it compared to, do you think, Punch Drunk Love? How had it evolved?
I think just more confidence. I think I learned so much in that writing, in publishing the first book, about how editing works and letting go of things, and finding the funny, because they are funny books. Then that really looking at where is the humour and where's it to be found, but also good the depth of characters. I think just the confidence that I gained from the first book meant that I felt I could delve more into them, and also that thing of bringing more of yourself to your books. Insofar, I have this tip that I give newer writers, which is to lock yourself in a room with a glass of wine and a pad and a pen, and then on the wine halfway through if you need to, and then delve even deeper than you've been planned to, because by the end of that exercise you will have a list of flaws which you understand and you know how they play out, and that you can write about in a very realistic way. And then when you finish, you can drink the rest of the wine. That's my tip.
Excellent. Top tip. And then we come to 10 years. Very different sort of cover style as well with this one.
Yes, and it's a different book. It is technically a rom-com. I'd say it was more of a funny romance insofar it deals with grief, and it starts with a funeral, which felt like a bit of a risk actually, because obviously you want people to read past the first chapter. But this came from a conversation with my editor where she was looking for something that would span a long period of time and have a haters to lovers theme. And we talked back and forth about what that could look like. And then on the tube on the way home, I was kind of thinking, actually, I think it needs an engine to drive it through these many years, because why would you keep coming back and meeting up with someone if you hated them? So it turned out that the engine for this story is that Becca and Charlie meet up every year to complete a task which was in the bucket list of what was her best friend and his fiance. So while they do hate each other, they still want to honor her by doing these tasks, but the only way they think they can get through it is to do one a year. So that's why the book spans so many years. So that the split of the book is that each year has 2 chapters. First chapter is like kind of a catch up of what's happened in the past year and how they've grown and developed. And then the second chapter is the actual task. And we see how they get on and the roller coaster of them moving from haters to lovers. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you for your question, Kylie. That was a great one. Thank you.
Yes,
We've got another question from Andrea, which sort of follows on from that, really, because you mentioned the conversation with your editor. So Andrea says, at what point in the process do you decide what tropes you're going to use? Do you go in with a plan or develop a plot and then identify the tropes? So you talked about having a conversation with your editor there. Is the editor kind of saying, this is what's hot in the market at the moment, this is what people are looking for, or is it a sort of more of a two-way thing?
No, it was more of a two-way thing, because I think so my editor is Charlotte Ledger at One More Chapter, who I worship. I think she's amazing, and she knows romance backwards, and she is so well versed in it. So, and she generally, actually, I think she knows I'm not flaky, but I'm not a writer who can write really, really fast. I take a while and then I appear and then with something. So she can't say this is really hot, because by the time I've finished, that would be long gone. So it's really, she's happy for me to write what inspires me. I naturally really like an enemies to lovers, because I think it really lends itself to banter and just humor, which is what I write. In terms of what have I gone in thinking I'm going to write I think because I knew this one was the new one is a snowman. It was going to be, she was grounded, she was going to be stuck. So that instantly became a false proximity. And I wanted to write He Fell First, because it was earlier in the book, he had been they start a bit tetchy, and that hadn't been there. And so in the first draft, Charlotte came back and said he's too nice. So I went back and rejigged that, and so that kind of came about as a roundabout face, really. So, but I still wanted him to fall first, because I wanted to have that where she's the one who's skittish, because I just think I like to write modern women, and I think that is something for us at the moment, is that actually that kind of traditional way is being questioned now, and in many cases rightly so. And so I that felt right to me, that he's the kind of guy who will admit that as well, and I wanted to. So I think, in answer to your question, Andrew, I think it's just the story will sometimes take me to tropes, because this kind of comes up, and okay, that's a fake dating trope. Fine, we're doing that then, are we? Okay, off we go. And other times it's a case of, I just want my character to be this character. Maybe it's sometimes in opposition to the previous book, or it's like, I fancy writing someone like this time, because in this job, if you can't please yourself, sometimes, what's it all for, Mark? What's it all for if you can't have fun with it? And so yes, I will write what tickles me and what I fancy writing, I think, currently. Yeah.
Excellent. Great answer. Great question. Thank you, Andrea. Thank you so much. Got an excellent question here from Claire Hutchison as well. Do you know any authors who are very shy but still manage to navigate the world of publishing? And that, I think this applies to so many authors, because we sit, like I say, lock yourself away in a room, tap at those keys or scribble on a notepad or whatever it is, but I think sometimes we're expected to come out, singing and dancing and doing live streams in front of complete strangers. So do we all have to be massive egotists to do this?
No, I don't think you have to be, but I do think you have to find some way that you can stomach putting yourself out there. And I'd always say to any writer, find your tribe, find a writing group, find some kind of coven, as I have, who supports you. So all of you as a group, you may all be shy, or actually some are more extroverted, but just having the group that you trust, that supports you and celebrates you and can commiserate with you, is a great start. And then you will see little things that they do. You think, well, okay, maybe I could do that, and you try. And I'm trying to kind of instill into my kids that, sometimes things are really uncomfortable, but when you walk the line of discomfort, you see at the end that you're actually far more capable. And that's not just my kids. I just took a pottery course, and my God, I was bad at it. And I felt so uncomfortable. And I see that I'm a perfectionist, and I see that I don't like mess. And I felt anxious. But look, I did that. But at the same time, it was so uncomfortable. But I think we have to sometimes... I remember at the very beginning to write, and I went onto Twitter and I was thinking, oh my God, why am I doing this? Nobody cares about me. Why on earth would they follow me? What am I thinking? And it was very uncomfortable. But then suddenly you realise that people are they were back then in 2012 Twitter, very friendly. And you think, not as bad as I thought. So Claire, I think my answer is that find what you think is comfortable. I've tried TikTok. I just can't. I just cannot. It's so rare. If I've got a little film from something else, I'll post it there just because I have it already, but I just can't do it. And so I won't do that. I'll put my attention elsewhere. And sometimes I'll do a facey thing, but a lot of the time I don't. I share stills because that feels more comfortable to me. So I think my advice is have a team with you, that you are part of celebrating them. They'll celebrate you. You'll pick up their ideas. At the same time, try things, push yourself a little bit. And if it doesn't kill you, you could probably do it again. And then just really push your boundaries a bit. But then find respect your own boundaries. If you've tried things and you go, this is not for me, don't do it anymore. Don't do it anymore. You're grown up. You don't have to do stuff anymore.
That's a great answer, and a very great lesson to learn. I remember when I was a kid, and there was something I didn't want to do at school. It might have been the Scouts or something. And my dad said to me, "You don't have to do anything if you don't want to." And I'm like, "Really? That's allowed?"
How old were you? Because I haven't learned this till my 40s.
I was like 10. It was great. It's got me into all sorts of trouble.
Wow, I've got a wish. No, it's just learning now to go, no, I don't want to do that now. And others looking at me like I'm a victim, go, no, I'm in my 50s, I don't have to do it anymore. Yeah,
exactly. And not giving any excuse as well. You don't say, well, I can't do it because oh, I've got to feed the cat, or I
Yeah,
can't.
God, yeah.
Just
Please
say,
don't hate
yeah,
me.
no,
These are the reasons. Oh,
yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. Just
yeah,
say no. I
yeah,
can't do that. Thank you very much for thinking of me,
yeah.
but I'm not available. I can't do it. Whatever. So
Yes,
now,
that.
one other thing, Claire, which you might find helpful. I've got this book, right? I'm using this for a thing I'm working on at the moment, Writing Regency England, and it's by Jane Davis and Gail Eastwood, who are Regency romance authors. But it's an incredible resource just for any genre in that period. But Jane Davis here, if you look up, that's Jayne, Jane Davis, you look her up online, okay? That's not her real name, that's her pen name. And if you go to her website, her author photo is her holding a book over her face.
Yeah,
You can't even see her face. And she's been hugely successful in writing Regency romance. And one of the reasons is her blog is a brilliant resource for Regency history. If you want to know how they danced, what kind of money they used, how they dressed, the houses that they lived in, it's, well, she's put it in a book as well, which I wish you'd do as an ebook, Jane, so I could search for it. But
yeah.
anyway, that aside, but yeah, she's made a huge career self-publishing and not having to put her face out there at all. So Jane is always the example I give to authors who think, hang on, do I have to go out there and be this like performing monkey kind of thing? No, you don't. You don't. So
You don't.
Claire, I hope that
You
that
don't. But I
helps.
think
I
you
hope that
do have to
helps.
put yourself. Yeah, I did that, and I think that is you don't. You don't have to. You don't have to, but you do have to do something. And I podcast. I know we don't talk about them, but Richard Osman was talking about, did you need to have a platform? Absolutely, no, you don't. And I'm thinking, well, do you know what? And I like him. I really enjoy his books, and he seems like a really lovely man. But when he is talking on that podcast about publishing, it feels
Yeah.
like listening to General Milchit talking about life in the Blackadder trenches, because he's never seen them. Never seen them.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, you do need to have some kind of a platform, but you make it your own, and you can find a really good online tribe, like say for Instagram, if you really plunder your niche of what it is that you're writing about, and you form connections with them that really aren't about the book. That's just it. So you could be doing all the Bridgerton links and all the Regency links, but never actually saying, here's my face, buy my book. You could just be really having conversations, and I think that you can absolutely do that. You can do that. Yes.
I think also writers, the first thing I say to writers who, come to the green room and things like that, and I'll talk about that later, is get your own website and blog, your own little corner of the internet that is yours. Because we've all
Yes.
seen what's happened with Twitter. We've all seen what's happened with social media. It's fragmented completely. But if you've got your own website, and it can be a little Wix page, just one page with your bio or whatever, that's your corner of the internet. But if you do have a blog, a lot of authors get starting out, well, what do I write about? Write about your writing journey, write about the things that you're passionate about, because those little spider search engines will bring people to you. I remember Gerber Crombie, before he was even published, just started writing about his publishing journey. Oh, I've had the cover proofs in today. I've had the this, that, and the other. And it was absolutely, and it drew the right kind of fantasy fans to him. Or if you're passionate about the genre and your favorite authors, talk about them, talk about how they've inspired you. Do it regularly, and it will draw people to you. So by the time you're published, you'll have a little tribe of people banging the drum for you. Well, it might not be huge, but they'll already be there, which is why I say start it today while you can, because it pays off in dividends much later down the line. So
And isn't it nice to practice when nobody's really looking?
Exactly.
You can write I had a tiny on Blogspot, a little blog, writing from the edge of distraction. And I was just talking about what I was doing, what I was reading, and I still have the what I'm reading as part of my Now newsletter, which comes off my website. And my newsletter list is not big. It really isn't. But I write every 2 months. I let people know what I'm doing. They follow me on this last journey. I get a lovely responses back, and it's so uplifting to know that you're not just shouting into the ether. Really, there is someone, and even though I was just shouting into the ether, there was always one or two people who would just pop up from you know, all sorts of places. So, but yeah, I did it on the quiet. It was almost like testing it in the dark, because no one would see if I made a prat of myself. And yeah, so start early. Definitely.
Great stuff. Claire says, great advice. Thanks. I will apply myself. It's worth it because I love writing. And that's the important thing. Love the process, because it's the only thing you can control. You can't control anything else. But, you know, getting those words on the page is the thing that you are in control with. So I really hope that's helpful, Claire. And great answer. Thank you so much, Pernille. Let's talk about, there's one thing I want to check this. You're still okay to talk about this, because there was a bit of a gap between the last book and this book. 3 years, I believe.
Yeah.
What was the gap? What was that gap about?
Well, I thought so. It was coming out of 10 years, which I wrote during COVID, which was a really weird time to write a funny book. When you're writing something like that, which deals about in grief, but it's in a humorous way, it was about finding light and shade across the time. And if you're writing when you're locked down and can't leave the house and the world is a scary place, it's quite difficult at times to find the light. But we did it, and we published the book, and then I just couldn't really start. I couldn't really start anything new. No, I did start something new, and it was god awful, so bad. And I just had to bin it. I gave the first bit to my editor, and I said, and I never give her a bit of parts. I always give her a first draft. And I said, can't write this. Here's the first thing. I'm embarrassed to give it to you. My toes are curling just hitting set, because it was so bad. So I binned that, and I thought, oh God, maybe that's knocked my my confidence a bit. But it just got worse. And eventually I was finding I could not think widely. I could not think deeply. I couldn't make decisions. And when you're plotting or just writing, you have to make decisions all the time, because everywhere you go is a fork in the road, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I could pull up to 2 identical parking spots, and I could not work out which one to park the car in. All of that ability was just gone. It was brain fog. And I generally didn't know whether I would ever write again. And I would meet up with my writer friends, and they, you know, everyone would go around the table, where you at? And I'm just no, still nothing. And I was thinking, I don't even know if I can come to these anymore, because if I'm not a writer, then I shouldn't be here. And it was beginning. I tried maybe a little short story, and I just managed to, but I was brute forcing it out, and it was just really hard. And I've hit my 50s, so I had then I decided to go on HRT, and that really did make really, I could see some change there, and that was great. I knew, because I was trying to work out, do I even want to write, you know, because if it's like this, what am I going to do with that? And then I changed my HRT, just honing it, and again, it made it a little bit better. So I was thinking, okay, this is working for me, but it's not there yet. And then my joints were aching, so I'd been to see the doctor anyway, and said, and he said, oh, we'll try a bigger patch. And so I did that. And then one morning in last November, I woke up, and it was like my brain had cleared. It's not cured, but it was cleared. And I wrote a synopsis over that weekend, and I sent it to Charlotte and said, hello, remember me 3 years ago? We published a book, and I have a synopsis, if I wrote this, would you be interested? And she just wrote back with full caps, just going, oh my God, yes, we need it by February, because it's a Christmas title. So I wrote like the Clappers between November and February, and so that was the first draft. And then of course we were on a Christmas schedule, so next draft it was quite fine-tuned, and then the final draft got handed in on the 31st of July. So yes, that HRT did it for me. I understand it doesn't work for everybody, but it worked for me, and I can write again, and I am excited to write again.
Wow, that is amazing. That's my wife went through a similar thing, not novelist, but just, you know, life, the brain fog of, you know, just navigating the day is that was extraordinary. But she did come through the other side. And just that thing of, for your editor, because I think we worry, and we hear, we tend to hear so many negative stories about publishing these days, and people getting dropped if they're not an instant hit and blah blah blah. So for your editor to get back to you and say welcome back, that's extraordinary, isn't it? That shows such confidence in your writing and patience, I guess, on her part. But that must have been a relief.
I feel very massive relief. I mean, when I was writing that draft, well, I wrote the synopsis and I thought, well, I'll send it to her, see what she thinks. But I'm going to write this book because I want to see if I can get to an end of a book. And throughout writing it, I just thought, I'm just going to head for the end, because even if she doesn't want it, come when she actually sees what it looks like, I will still have a book. I will still say, I can do this again. I can do this. And maybe I'll self-pub it, or send it out to others. I don't know, but I need to see that I can get to the end and she is willing to read it. So that was enough for me to go with. And I think just those things was enough to power that wave, really. Yeah. And I am lucky in that she is willing to put up with my, disappearing. From the other hand, I think, on my other 3 books, she knows that I have come up with the goods. So I think there's a bit of, she knows I can produce a book, that she likes the books that I write. So I suppose both backwards and forwards there. I see Kylie, she is crediting her giant HRT patches. Yes, Kylie. We're just covered in sticker.
For the listeners, Kylie Dunbar says, I need to credit my giant HRT patches as a collaborator roundabout now. It's a real problem. It is a genuine problem.
I did actually acknowledge my doctor in the acknowledgement. This book. And the NHS. God bless the NHS. Yes, for letting us have it. Yeah.
Brilliant stuff. Great questions there. Lovely. Okay, let's take a little break. So I'm going to talk about the green room. Okay, so twice a month I run live sessions on Zoom where you can ask me questions about the craft of writing, the business of publishing, the sessions, the kind of stuff we've been talking about just now. The sessions are fun and informal and chatty. Again, very much like this. You can send me questions in advance. They're recorded live and saved on Ko-fi for exclusive access to Green Room supporters. So there's a link going across the bottom of the page there, which you can see now. And I've even got a fancy schmancy QR code. If you look at this on screen, you can whack that with your phone there and get that QR code. I'm running this via Ko-fi. You can join by clicking on the Green Room membership tier for £20 a month, just £20 a month. There's no long-term commitment. With Ko-fi, you can support for just a month or as long as you like. Now, my goal is to be able to give supporters advice that will make a real difference to their writing and their career. Because the way I see it, having worked in this industry as a salesperson, a bookseller, and an author for over 30 years, I've made every mistake so you don't have to. So the next Green Room sessions are Wednesday, 12th of November, 8 p.m. GMT. That's a Q&A session. You send me questions in advance. I give you answers. We have discussions. It's all good fun. And then on Monday, 24th of November, we have the 200-word workshop sessions where we choose a topic. People send in 200 words from their work in progress, and we critique it. Again, it's not heavy. It's all good fun. It's all very collaborative, and we all learn something and become better writers as a result. So do please join us. It's kofi.com/markstay-writer. Find me online and join the Green Room. I've got books as well. Let's talk about. I've got books. You can buy them from all good bookstores. If you want a signed and dedicated copy, then you can come to the Village Bookshop, my online store, which is at witchesofwoodville.com/the-village-bookshop. You can find that there. So again, have I got a QR code for that? I think I might have. Hang on one moment, listeners. Listeners, QR code's no good to you, is it? There we go. There's a QR code there. Give that a zap. Buy some books. I can sign them, pop them in the post. It's gift season, so books make a great gift. Don't buy Christmas cards. They're way too expensive. Buy a book. Much better value. Lasts a lifetime, and you can scribble something, Christmas greeting in there as well. So anyway, back to our advertised guest, Pernille Hughes. Pernille, I'm going to ask you my regular questions that I ask of all my guests. So, what small thing has made a big difference to your creative process?
There's two, I think. One is accepting that the way I write is the way I write, that I will have to have faith in that as I'm writing, I won't know everything and it will come together in the end. So learning to have faith with that, but you can't know that straight away, I don't think. You have to do it a few times, but then within that framework, every book is different, just like that second and subsequent children. They're not like the first one, which is really annoying because you've just learned to do one. And so there's that, but also actually having a bit of a word with myself, actually, I think about where I am as a writer and that's okay, insofar as during my 3 years in the wilderness, I saw, friends get loads of books published. And with each one, I'm thinking, oh God, you've put nothing out. And the anxiety just built and built and the pressure. Yeah. And to actually just sit and think, well, hang on a sec. They may just be them and a dog. I have 4 kids. We were doing A-levels for 2 of them and 1 year. That was great. And then, other exams at different times. So, everyone has different things going on, and realizing that everyone's different. You do you. I will, that is all I can do. That is, and equally, nobody's the same. Everyone has a different journey. And so some people, the planets will just align for them. And that's amazing to watch. But, we're all human. There might be a bit of envy in there. But, and other people have a path where there may be a planet slightly off kilter, and it's not going to be quite the same. And the universe is not the same for everyone. That, I could look at others and say, oh, I'll get there one day. Well, no, there's no reason why I would get there one day. The goal is not the same. We are not the same, and just accepting that I can just do what I do, and I've just got to stop comparing myself to other people and understand the lane that I am in, and that where I sit within my publisher and where I sit within UK publishing, and make peace with that. I think actually helped me. Does that make sense?
That is a terrific answer. That's a great answer. Makes total sense. It's not a zero-sum game. It's not a race. We all help each other out.
Yeah. I mean, I'm absolutely up for helping each other, because my writing a book is not going to take a reader away from you. But we cannot produce books fast enough to satisfy all readers, and equally they will never read all the books in the world. It is not a competition. I don't take anything away from other people. They don't take anything away from me. It's just like you say, we can all work together, be part of a community without needing to be unkind or unhelpful. And I take great joy when I can support other writers, and when I meet with my group and we just support each other. And it's such a big thing as part of my life as a writer, insofar as there's not that celebrations are far and few between with this, because it's a really slow process, and it gets delivered to you in really odd ways. Sometimes in publishing, these things happen, but you're not allowed to talk about it. And then by the time you are allowed to talk about it, it's such past news that okay, that's done then. It's like but to have people who can celebrate with you at the time, and if I can then help support people and make them feel good, that is a right now joy to me, and therefore I will try to do that as much as I can.
That's a very good point you made there. It's like, if you get that contract or that deal, but you can't talk about it, you're like, I'm going to tell everyone. And then when you finally have that, and because with publishers especially, it's all about controlling the message. It eventually goes out, and you're like, oh yeah, that. Oh
it's that kind of.
It's usually when you're in, up to your neck in copy edits or something, you're thinking, I'm actually going to finish this bloody thing, so it's. It can be quite traumatic rather than celebratory, can't it?
Yes. Yeah. It's a very weird business. It really is. Yeah.
It really is. Yeah. Next question. What's the thing that makes you think you're ready to start writing on a project? That tipping point.
This is always a mess for me, because I would love to be a plotter, but I think I'm more of a hybrid. So I will plot, and then I kind of get stuck on the plotting because it's too hard. And then I will sit there stuck, and then I think, oh God, time is vanishing. I must write now. So then I launch, and then of course I've only plotted up to a certain point, and then I run out, and then I think, oh, I should have spent more time planning. And so the very beginning is this real push-pull kind of dynamic, which is quite uncomfortable. But then in the end, I just think, okay, enough. You've got to keep ploughing forward, keep going forward, don't go backwards. And in the end, it kind of sorts itself out. But that first, well, that meant that at the end of like the first act, already I've run out of plot, and then I'm just flailing a bit until I can then get my crap together and plow on. Yes. So when do you start? At the point where I just have my panic, really. I think that's when I start. Yeah. I wouldn't advise it. I'm absolutely not saying you should do it like this, because it's rubbish. It's rubbish.
No, I'm finding that everyone has their own way of realizing, I really have to write this thing and I should probably do it now. So yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. Conversely, how do you know when you're done?
So if it's a first draft, I have my vomit draft, which no one will ever see. And then I have my first draft, where I prefer to write the whole thing to show myself that the story works, that the mechanics of the story works. And then I'll give it a bit of a polish up, and then human eyes can see it, because I want them to have the experience of the reader having any surprises I put in, that they will be surprising. Yes. Which is why I said earlier that I don't show people parts, because then they'll have read that bit before by the time I send them the first draft, and I want them to have the full experience. And I'll have polished it a bit so that all my crappy spelling doesn't pull them out of it. But I know that that is just the first draft. And so Charlotte will then come back and say, like she did with this book, he's too nice, or, other things. So I will know already that I'm going to go back and do definitely a hero pass, because for some reason I can never quite get a grip on them straight away. But I'm open to that. I know that's coming, and I'm completely chilled with that. And then we go again. But I have to know that first pass that first round, that first draft works at least on some level. Even if they come back and say that's going to have to change, at least I've got it to work once. So in my head, that means I can do it again. Having said that, I hate the breaking of a draft, because I got it to work. So now I have to destroy it again. And it really sits badly, but I know I have to do it. In terms of when is it finished, when my editors have said, I'm happy now. And then I have got to the point where I'm quibbling over singular words. I go, it's time, because you're about to go insane, and walk away. And that's when it goes. But that's not to say that when I then listen to it later, I go, oh, why didn't you say it like this instead? It's never finished. But yeah, quibbling over singular words is the time for me.
Yeah, when you can't see the wood for the trees.
Yeah,
you mentioned a hero draft there. Is that where you go through the whole thing just focusing on the protagonist?
I might combine it with a different one just because of efficiency. So if there's two things I'm looking at in a pass, or a couple of things, a few things. But yes, so with this last book, he was too nice. So I went back to the beginning, and I picked a book that I had read where I knew what kind of a character I wanted to change him into. I read someone else's book where I thought they had done that well. I then kind of read it from an author's point of view, and made notes about how had she done that. And then could come at this book in a more kind of informed way, that this is, and so I was able to shape him in a different way, so that he was more tetchy at the beginning, which gave me more energy. Yeah.
Brilliant. Excellent. How do you remember that idea that you have at, say, 3 a.m?
I do not. I just don't, because when I wake up at 3 a.m, so I have done this, I've had a pad of paper and a pen by my bed, and then I scribble in the darkness, and then in the morning I see that the scribble's gone down the page and I can't actually decipher what it says, or I realise that my bestseller was based on, and the patio door was open. What nonsense. So I've realised now that A, my notes are rubbish at 3 a.m, and B, my ideas at 3 a.m are a load of tosh anyway. So I just go back to sleep now. Guys,
Very good.
It's not for me. It's just not for me.
No, very good. What's the biggest mistake you've ever made in your writing career?
Well, I think I'm going to invoke the wisdom of Mr. Worldwide Pitbull at this point, that there are no mistakes, there are must-takes. And I think the view is that, so I think it's fairly documented in past podcasts that I had an English teacher who was my careers teacher, and I wanted to be a journalist when I was 15. And she basically said, you can forget that, your writing isn't good enough to be a writer. And she didn't come up with any other plan Bs where I could have used my writing. And yeah, anyway, I didn't write for 10 years. And so now I look back and I think, well, maybe that was my mistake, to allow someone else to tell me that, to not go, I'll prove you wrong. But I was not that kind of person back then. And so I didn't write. But on the other hand, I've learned stuff in those 10 years. I have experienced things that I can write about. I have hopefully matured a bit in my head. So I can think about people and observe them, and I bring that to my writing. So from a point of view of it being a must take, it's like, yeah, I learned things which I have then percolated and have my worldview now, and that's what I bring to my book. And had I started, if I'd kept writing and been writing these books at 20, yeah, I could have been that much further ahead in my career. But I think maybe I wouldn't have had the emotional maturity to be able to write the books that I write now. So yeah. I'll spin it like that, I think. Yeah.
No, that's good. That's a good answer. Good answer. What's the best
points for mentioning Pitbull?
Yes, you do. You do. What's the best happy I'll do. There's a bit of a delay. What's the best? Take 5, 3, 2. What's the best happy accident of your writing career? I'm
going to say getting pregnant with my twins, because I had 4 children under the age of 5 suddenly, and that meant I couldn't work. I went back to work technically for 14 days between child 2 and 3 and 4. And they didn't make me work it, but that's all I could go back for before I went back on maternity leave. And the thing was, I was only ever going to be breaking even if I'd gone back after child 2 in terms of childcare. So obviously I couldn't go back. And so I was at home, and it meant that I could then think about, well, what do I want to do to keep my brain working? And that's where I signed up to do a writing course, which then led me on this journey of finding where my writing voice lay, because I tried children's books and then middle grade and then YA and finally women's fiction, which is where I am at home. But I think it was because of the boys that, yes, that happy accident is why I'm got to writing. Yeah,
brilliant. Yeah. Love it. And finally, out of the regular questions, we've got some listener questions in just a second. Is there a character or a story swirling around in your mind that you want to write, but you're not ready to write it quite yet?
Yeah, I think there is a story, but I do believe that you write a better book if you bring something of yourself to each book. And I can kind of plot that in my book. So Punch Drunk Love is about who decides what you are capable of, and that kind of comes back to that English teacher, that I decide what I'm capable of. And the second book was about control, that my character had to give up some control in order to get what she wanted. Well, I was trying to wrangle 4 kids. I was vastly outmanned, and so I was quite controlling, and in order to be so it was looking at that, and then 10 years was, I knew I was heading into a period of my life where I would be experiencing grief, but I hadn't had a big grief yet. And so that book was kind of looking at that and how I might deal with it. There's like 3 different points of view of grief. So I think I'm just too cheap to buy therapy. And so my books are just like me kind of working through stuff.
Me too. Yeah.
Yeah, so I might just annotate the books and hand them over to the therapist and go, here you go. But so I think it's that is oh God, I've lost the question. What was the question? Remind me of the question, Mark, please.
Is there a character or story swirling in your head that you want to write but not ready yet?
So yes, I do. And I think there is a story which is kind of on the fringes of my list of where I don't have a lot of ideas, but I do have a little queue, and it's on the fringes because that one feels I might have to dig a little deeper down than I'm really comfortable going at the moment. So I'm not ready. I'm sure I will. And otherwise, we were also talking the other day about, if you had to pivot from your genre now, where would you go? And I was thinking if I had to do something else, it would be cozy crime, because I can't not write funny, and I would still want some romance in there. I just have to, if I'm not a plotter, how do you plot a crime? So I'd have to learn that. Yeah.
Well, you've just answered Claire's Hutchison's listener question here.
Oh,
would you write in any other genre? There we go.
Yes, cozy crime.
And GB Ralph, cozy crime, yes. Yeah, excellent, good answer. Go back to the therapy thing. It's so true. My mum died a few weeks ago, and it was very sudden, and it hit really, really hard. And I've had a couple of people say, I mean, a lot of people in my family have had therapy, and so get some therapy, and okay, but the day after Mum died, I was editing a scene where someone discovers a body. And then just this morning I was working on a scene where a mother dies, and it's just like you come at it and you think, it sounds weird, but it's like, I can really write this now. It's just thanks, Mum.
It does inform your writing.
Yeah,
it really does. And
it's raw now, but it becomes a scar, and it becomes part of who you are, doesn't it?
You do, and you will write scenes differently. You will write people speaking about grief or loss in a completely different way. So my dad died last year, and so in writing this, and not just this, but also people's reactions to that in other scenes, and friendships, and who was there, and those all. It's another life experience that will inform your writing in a way that it just couldn't before, because you just didn't know. Yes, it is. It's I don't even know how to describe it. It's such a colossal thing in your life, and it's so sad. And there is, the love that you can't quite direct somewhere. But at the same time, you now have this asset that you can draw on and really honor them with your ability to express to other people what you've experienced.
Yeah, go back to that thing you were talking about, writing in your 20s, and my writing in my 20s was terrible, and I'm glad I never got published or on screen or anything like that, because it would just be the embarrassing early books or whatever. And I've talked to my daughter about this, because she's writing, she's very good, but I did say to her that you need to fall in love, have a shitty boss at a job, and experience grief. I think she's done all of those now. So.
Yes. Okay, she's back in. Okay,
she's ready to rock, But it's I think you need to have lived a bit, frankly. To write,
and then be willing to put yourself on the page.
That's the hard bit. That's the trick, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Brilliant question. Thank you very much for that, and thank you for people putting condolences and stuff in the comments. Thank you very much for that. It's don't worry, I'm very happy to talk about it. Now let's get to the fun bit. What is bringing you joy at the moment, Pernille? Tell us what's making you happy. It could be books, movies, TV shows, music, games, whatever makes you happy when you're not writing. And I know you did send them to me before, so if you need prompting, I'm happy to prompt.
Well, I think I'm part of the national following of celebrity traitors at the moment. I mean, it's just a joy, and also watching how they play it so differently from the civilian traitors, insofar as they all know each other, and they're all kind of respectful of each other, so they're all being kind of nice in many ways at the same time, and you know, they have some kind of a hierarchy. It's just a very different dynamic, but a charming one. So I'm really enjoying that, and of course they've really glammed it up, or camped it up. Claudia is so yes, that is and also it's good to watch as a family, because you can kind of discuss at the same time, and that I really enjoy. Slow Horses, I think, is excellent writing. I haven't quite got onto the new series. I'm just finishing, and I just think that's written so well. And yeah, sorry, not just written well, it's acted brilliantly. So yes, I think that's cracking. And I'm allowed to say in anticipation of the Great Pottery Throwdown, which will start just after Christmas, which I think is some of the most wholesome television going. I think Bake Off is lovely, but the clay thing is so nice, and they're all lovely to each other. And Keith crying when he's moved by something that people have made, I think is so touching. And when I did my little pottery course just now, I thought, well, Keith might cry for me, but it's not because I've done something brilliant. It's just from how far I've come. So yes, that I'm looking forward to. Yeah.
Brilliant.
What else then? Something I saw on Instagram recently, which just tickled me. It was a profile called Mr. McGrammer, and he takes known children's books such as The Hungry Caterpillar and We're Going on a Bear Hunt, and he raps them. Now, I am not a rap fan. I am not, but I just saw these and thought they were perfect, and I don't know whether they would work on with anyone who has little kids, and I think maybe because my kids are now 20, my youngest kids are 20, that I have the distance now between to appreciate something like this rather than want to bang my head against a wall. But yes, anyone with little kids, have a listen, see what you think, or let your kids listen, because they're just funny.
Now, Pernille, I can tell you're not a rap fan because you've referred to it as Mr. McGrammer. I believe it is MC Grammar, as in Master of Ceremonies.
Oh yes, I've got it written down here just to remind myself. And I had said to myself earlier, it's not Merc, is it? It's because anyway, it's MC. I knew that. Can we change that in the edit? Can we? Anyway, no,
we
yes,
can.
Yeah.
Kai, note to Kai. I'll make a note of that.
Yeah, it's Mr. I done it again. Mr. MC Grammar. Oh, what a lemming. Anyway,
he does sound.
music.
I mean, if he's doing stuff for kids, Mr. McGrammer. This I put my next book
works,
is going to be
doesn't
Mr. McGrammer in there. Yeah.
No, but it's also because my daughter's initials are MC Hughes, and so she's just known as Mc Hughes, and therefore, yes. Anyway, moving on. Moving on. Music at the moment. I can't work to. Yes, this chap. What's his face? Ludovico.
Ludovico Einaudi. Apologies for getting that wrong.
Yes, and he was the soundtrack to my life, where I can't work when there's words to music, but at the same time, I need something to break the silence. And so his music was really helpful because I could just have it playing, and it wouldn't, because I was in this like slightly fragile state of mind where I was just having faith that I could write again. To then mess with it with words would have been tricky. So this worked really well. And I also found Vitamin String Quartet, who do the music to Bridgerton. They take modern songs and they play them in string quartet. It's beautiful, but I really enjoy. And so that is something that I really like. And
on your recommendation, I looked them up today, and they have a Studio Ghibli album, just string quartet versions of Studio Ghibli soundtracks, and it's just gorgeous. It's really, really nice,
isn't it?
So thanks for the rec. That was a great.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I could do something that music-wise that was just Anyway, what else? Books. So obviously I've just written a Christmas book, but I'm now that all the pumpkins have been packed away as of 2 days ago or 3 days ago, the Christmas books are coming through, and that is just lovely to be able to cozy up with books about cozying up. And so, yes, Julia Kaplan's Christmas on Fifth Avenue, lovely, lovely book. I felt I'd been there. She writes places so well. You think that you've been. And so that was a joy. The Secret Mistletoe Promise. I'm in the middle of reading The Christmas at Scottish Lodge by Donna Ashcroft, also a joy. So, yeah, that's my kind of reading at the moment, getting into the season. And then otherwise my joy at the moment is my I'm doing a talk. I'm doing a panel.
You're doing November 19th, I believe. Yes, at the
November
Chapter 2
bookshop. Yes, which is a Chapter 2 bookshop is a second-hand bookshop which belongs to the Hospice of St Francis in Berkhamsted, and so this is an event where the proceeds go to the hospice. And so Julie and Donna are coming along, and we will chat about the joys of Christmas books, Christmas romances, and that's on the 19th of November. Yes, looking forward to that.
Fantastic. Sorry, and your final choice?
We usually have a laugh. And they are actually two of the members of this writing group that I'm in, and we're just 8. And that is also a true joy, is that we understand the market, the business. We're all in it at different stages, with different ages. But you know what? When you tell someone that, you celebrate a good thing, and people go, "Oh, that's nice," and you're thinking, "No, it's a much bigger thing than that," or this is a group I can tell, and they get it. And so to have a group of people, to have a tribe who understand. I mean, it's lovely getting celebrations with your family, but they don't really understand. So to have people that know and get it, that's what having your tribe is about. And so we meet every 2 months or so at a chocolate cafe that's kind of very handily right in the middle of where we all live. And they are very important to me. Yeah.
Wonderful. Love it. I'm going to quickly run through what's bringing me joy at the moment. Now, for various reasons, I've had a reading slump recently. I had a few weeks where I just couldn't read anything, let alone fiction. But Kate Atkinson came to the rescue with Human Croquet. She's getting me out of this funk. I'm about a third of the way through it. She's an absolute bloody genius. I read it at 4:30 a.m. when I wake up with having an existential crisis, and she makes everything better. And she's just terrific. Good. So that's getting me through the dark times. Also, Alan Partridge, the new series, Alan Partridge, How Are You? I know this has divided people, but I absolutely love it. The longer Partridge goes on for, the better he gets, I think. It is at some points just excruciating. There's one episode where there's one line where Claire and I just had to pause it out of shock and then rewind it and go, did he actually say? Oh my God, he did. So yeah, that was very, very good. Catherine Priddy, who I've mentioned before, she's a wonderful singer, does kind of folky music, but a terrific songwriter. She's got a new single out called Matches, which is about the burning of witches, the burning of women who are accused of being witches. And I was listening to this in the car the other day, and my son said, yes, if Witches of Woodville ever gets made into a TV series, she should do the theme song. And he's absolutely right. You know that. So, Catherine, if you're listening, if this ever gets made into a TV show, I'll drop you a line. And the other thing that has just brought me joy is my daughter got married last week on Halloween, on Friday 31st, Halloween. And talk about, it was just a perfect day from beginning to end. Absolute supreme joy, and absolutely loved it. So that has made life very, very good.
Brilliant.
Okay, I'm going to be on the road again. I'm always on the road. I'm doing Comic-Cons all the time. Here are some dates for your diaries. I'm going to be in Southampton on November the 8th, and they've got Brian Blessed there and Sylvester McCoy. That's going to be a good one. And then I'm at Watford on the 9th. They've got some of the actors from Aliens there. That's going to be absolutely awesome. And then the big one for November is the London Film and Comic-Con. A huge plethora of stars coming to that, but I'm going to be there selling and signing my books. And then to wind up November, I'm on the 22nd. I'm going to be at Newmarket at the racecourse there, and then the last one is in Hearts, which is Wadson Park, where in Hertfordshire was previously the Hatfield Comic-Con, but they've moved it for some reason. And I really hope you've enjoyed this episode of Creative Differences. You're going to find all the links we discussed in the show notes for this episode, and on the webpage, Mark Stays Creative Differences. You can come and find me there. A huge thanks to Emily and Kai who'll be editing this and chopping up our gibberish into some sort of semblance of order. And thanks also to Dominic Curry for the jingle, which we're going to play one more time. And my special thanks to my special guest. My special thanks. I'm going to do that again. 3, 2, 1. Huge thanks to my special guest. Actually, leave it in. Huge thanks to my special, to Pernille Hughes. She's still here, and to everyone who's joined us live tonight. Pernille, one thing I haven't talked about, which is the fact that I think your career highlight so far, which we've not really discussed, is the fact that your book was seen on Channel 4's Handmade, Britain's Best Woodworker. There's the one clip image I could get. Tell me about this moment.
Yeah, it's down somewhere on the second shelf, I think. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, and in fact, it was my local librarian who sent it to me. She went, "I've just seen this on television. That's you." And yeah, massive kind of moment there. Yeah, that it's either that is a career highlight or it was being #1 in the beer chart on Amazon, which I don't think my husband's ever been as proud of me as then. Yeah, one of those.
Excellent. Fantastic. Now, look, we've got another episode, just a couple of weeks, actually. Tuesday, 18th of November. Jeevanie's here. Jeevanie Charika writes... Yeah, Jeeve, we love Jeeve. She writes award-nominated romantic women's fiction and rom-coms. Also writes under the name Rhoda Baxter. I'll put my teeth in. She is a resting microbiologist. She loves cake. She plays with Lego, and occasionally she writes as well. She also does this brilliant YouTube channel teaching authors how to use Canva to do marketing graphics and stuff like that. We are definitely going to be talking about that. And she's got a new book coming out this month, November. How Can I Resist You? And then instantly, great title, because instantly you're singing the song. So do please join us for that live. And if you've enjoyed this podcast, things like ratings, reviews, like, shares, these will help massively with the algorithms. But more importantly, if you could just tell one person about this podcast, that would make the biggest difference, because word of mouth is the best marketing there is. Pernille, thank you so much. We've gone on a bit, but I've loved it. It's all been great value.
Well, it's been a pleasure.
Absolute pleasure. Until next time, folks, happy writing, reading, and being different. Let's go out to the funk.